It's cold up in her. My headphones don't even work. Mainly because of... Anyway. We are in the Moscow. We are traveling through Russia. 11 time zones. No time to do it. Let's go. Plan! I can see a red line. I don't know what that means, but we are going to do it. We are going to hotel. We will rest and sleep the Russian night away. Moscow was not a comfortable city for a Frenchman. Nor is it usually a comfortable city for a Frenchman. Nor is it a comfortable city for most people, including the Russians. A local composer had just written a piece people were calling the 1812 Overture, played, or so I've heard, with actual cannons. Though, when you get your tidbits of knowledge from Calvin and Hobbes, you tend to question the source. Commemorating the Russian victory over Napoleon's invading Grande Armée in that fateful year. Patriotic passions were at a fever pitch. So I stayed very sensibly indoors. Because while I wish to discover things, I wish to remain alive. Alas, my friends, my solitude was quickly interrupted by an officious rap on the door. Two men in clothes so plain that they were almost certainly police officers invited themselves in. The new Tsar was a paranoid sort. Of course, I'd been saying good things. So it was said, but who could blame him, having personally witnessed his father's assassination as a young man? My luck, it seemed, had discerned. So I resolved to make my own luck. Remember, you make your own luck. Luck in this world, it comes and it goes, but if you make your own luck, then sometimes you will have luck. They asked me my name and purpose, and I answered deferentially. Honesty is the best. Keeping to the truth and not raising my eyes from the floor. They seemed skeptical about our journey. And I could not blame them. I mean, seriously, you got some rich bored dude who's like, hey, I'm gonna travel the world. Whee! At length they nodded. One removed a curious monocle and placed it into his pocket. It seems you are truthful. Crazy, but truthful. I like this guy. Anyone who lets me off. I've been pulled over 3 times, and I've got no tickets. 3 times. Why you travel through Russia, we do not understand. Perhaps you are heading for Vladivostok? Yes. But advice, maybe? Perhaps you have some advice for us? Perhaps we do, the policeman agreed. Vladivostok is close to all but military personnel. Not going there then. If you are thinking of going that way, choose again. They proceeded to rummage through our cases, tossing our possessions in all directions, but evidently finding nothing of interest. Do not stay in Moscow too long. Russian air does not suit a Frenchman. Well, no, duh. It's cold. Why would you live in a place that hurts your lungs? I took their warning to heart, and to my lungs, and quite looked forward to departing the Tsarist capital. My character is now smart. I can read people. I took a class. Where are we going? I don't know. I clicked depart, and off we go. Oh, the red line was the railroad. Well, it's cold in Moscow. Wait. 800 euros? I'm gonna be broke by the end of this. And it's minus 30. I said a bird. It's cold in here. Jeez, I always gotta hire for the extra. There must be something wrong with the atmosphere. I said a bird. It's cold in here. The bell in the stuccoed and whitewashed Moscow station gave its third and final clang, and the platform erupted into frenzy. Rough-shawled peasant women, convicts in prison cars, and we boarded calmly. there's a quiet dignity about us that I appreciate, that I've learned from Monsieur Fogg. I shall board calmly. And I find myself in a small cabin with heated water and a shaving mirror. I mean, do you see this? Do you see this? I need a shave. I need a shave bad. When you're in Russia, or sorry, the USSR. No, Russia. Yeah, free revolution. Our cash reserves seem to be running low, passport too. Yeah, I've only got 1.2 grand, which in this day and age is a lot more. Moscow police query mysterious Frenchman. Why do they even care? The news stories are low. True story, I saw a news story on national news that was about how supercalifragilisticexpialidocious backwards was not actually backwards. We were away! I remembered the advice from the man on the train to Warsaw. That would be good. The Tsar? Paranoid. Vladivostok? Military. Gotta go around. The Trans-Siberian was capable of higher speeds than it was admitted and determined to find my way to the engineer car to talk to the driver. That is not what I said. But you know what? I suggested a wager, and the man's eyes narrowed. What sort of wager? The train is obviously solidly built, so I will say the tracks. I believe this train travels so slowly because of it. Slowly? The driver choked. My good little Frenchman, I do not think you realize how fast we can go. Then you must show me. Put your money where your mouth is. The driver stared at me and shook his head. I work as I am told to work. I cannot risk the displeasure of the Tsar for you. Classic response. We were ordered to. My bed that night swayed along. With the motion of the train, we had several more days for this journey. Through the middle of nowhere at all, which is again 10 out of the 11 time zones of Russia. Nowhere. And my health goes down because it is freaking cold. Fog. A shaped mustache. Excellent. Our fellow passengers were a mix of convicts, political radicals, prospectors, businessmen, and military officers. In the midst of this was a young lady, Rosa, modishly dressed and wearing a bored expression, as, I don't know, people in Siberia do. In a rich military-style jacket and fur toque. I don't know what a toque is. Maybe you do. I don't know. I made her acquaintance. It's always only too easily. It's always nice to make an acquaintance. Just go up and talk to someone. This, coming from someone who tested out as a 100% introvert, just talk to people. You might make a friend. You might make an enemy. But either way, it keeps you on your toes. She was desperate for a sympathetic ear and told me her great secret. She had fallen in love with a peasant boy in 4th class called Jacques, by which I understood that they had shared a glance of extreme passion in the baggage car. To be young again. A revolutionist, I brought another driver, and I want so much more. No, to be so young again. There's so much in a glance. I resolved to keep an eye on their burgeoning locomotive romance. We crossed the Volga in the early afternoon, crawling slowly over a bridge perched with high pillar stones. High stone pillars. The devout Russians stood and crossed themselves while looking out over the water. I could just hear the lilting, rhythmic, oar-beating songs of the Volga boatmen over the whistle of the steamers. It's been a very exciting train ride. I mean, it's also in the middle of nowhere. Fog! The train crawled up into the Urals. Oh, so now we actually are getting into Siberia. And stopped at the town of Katberg. I bid farewell to you. No. True love Rosa. I am following Rosa. The train blew its whistle and faded away from sight. You know what? Fogg is rich. He can handle losing the bet. I found my true love, and you know what? There's no price that you can place on true love. There seems to be no departures for today. We should explore a little. Let's explore. New routes discovered, because that totally matters, so long as we are not going to Vladivostok. Ekaterinburg was a grand city of the north, where it is cold and the sun does not shine. A hive of industrial activity. Freight trains and wagons rolled in and out at all hours, carrying all manner of steam. This, and electro loop that, and hardy hoop this, and poopity poop that, heading east and west along Russia's great back. Because it doesn't have much else going for it. Now, I can tell from the map that Trans-Siberian is going straight east, but I do not know if it's going to Vladivostok only, which we cannot go to. Speed is the name of the game. I've said it every episode. I think probably not. However, there was only one train worth mentioning. The Trans-Siberian Express, from which we had just now stepped. I took a turn of the city and then returned to Mosia Fog. I forget where we are. That's okay. My master had passed the hours sipping a single cup of tea, which, it was clear from the look on his face, he had not enjoyed. Plan! One should always plan. One's okay. I guess the Omsk, Irkutsk, Karimskia. Oh my goodness, Vladivostok is way the heck over there. Okay, so I'm gonna have to swing south at Irkutsk. Make a mental note of that, because I'm sure as heck not gonna remember. So yes, part of the engineer set. You know, I've been avoiding the engineer set. Specialize. In games, you need to specialize, okay? And I'm also running out of time. I'll hotel. We'll pass the night here. With what remained of the day, I spent a while talking to the hotelier. Information is important. I spent a while talking to the hotelier. To learn what I could, hearing from him that there is neither bank nor market in Krasnovodsk. Despite this, I got nothing. A most interesting snippet. Plan. Tomorrow at noon. I'm quite sure this departure could be altered. The fur coat from our Russian gentleman's wardrobe set should spur them on. They're asking for 180, which would leave us with too little to afford the ticket. Let's sell some stuff. Sell the apples. Sell the Englishman's evening jacket because, after all, I am not in England. Sell the wool shirts because I've already gotten rid of that. Sell the wool trousers. And sell the bucket altimeter, as in, hello, yes, I am Mr. Altimeter. How do? And that gives me no time. I'm down to 2 suitcases. Oh, lordy. Off to Omsk. I think this departure could be adjusted. Negotiate. No, let's go to... Let's see if I can get to Irkutsk. Negotiate! 1100! I have 1100. I will embark. Ah, it is cold, but my fur coat shall keep me warm. Go! We joined the Trans-Siberian Express in the Urals. Well, yeah, okay. We can earn a little spending money through selling some of our possessions, which I already did, so we're done. We are in a bad state of affairs because we have 12 people. I settled mostly the fog and went to explore the train. Maybe I'll find some money in some cushions. Ending up in a car filled with lively cavalry officers eating smoked fish and playing music. One of them enjoined me to play his balalaika, a kind of triangular mandolin. I accepted eagerly, because while I may not know how to play, or have ever heard of this strange thing before, one can make friends by making a fool of oneself. Thus, my YouTube channel. I accepted eagerly and strummed a few notes to familiarize myself with the unaccustomed instrument. Once happy with its function, I played a new Gilbert and Sullivan tune to bring the light of entertainment across to Russia. The officers struggled to keep up with the words. Oh, oops. Which I had the luck to hear performed in Paris before I entered into Monsieur Fogg's service. The officers struggled to keep up with the words, but upon a second repeat, nearly the entirety of the Katerinburg station restaurant boomed out the chorus lines. In short, the matters vegetable, animal, and mineral, I am the very model of a modern cartoon individual. The officers were so pleased by my performance that they very generously made me a gift of that very same balalaika. I cannot wait to play it for Monsieur Fogg and sell it because I only have €12 to my name. Haha! San Francisco. You know that? San Francisco balalaika money, if I can make it that. Time on board trains takes on a meditative quality. I visited the library car and met Gorland, the daughter of a Mongol chieftain who was poring over a thick volume of algebra. I confessed myself surprised by her choice of reading, but she shrugged. I may study algebra, but I am to be an engineer in the Imperial Army of Russia. I wish to leave behind my ancestors' warrior past. But you have a glorious history. It is a new world. It is a new world. It is growing exponentially in the world of technology. Look it up. We may remake ourselves as we like. She laughed, delighted. Just so. She folded the book closed. You have traveled, monsieur. They call us barbarians, don't they? She asked. Who are they and what do they matter? Yeah, because honestly, she's Russian. Like, they're one type of people. They've got such a huge past. Here we are in America. Our history is like, what, 200 years old? Like, come on. What do they matter? I demanded, with fine rhetoric and spirit. Your life is yours. Too much Russian, not enough French. She leaned forward, eyes shining. The truth is, there is much going on in my country that most outsiders... There is more going on in my country that most outsiders don't. We are going fast as a people. You got the land. You mean territorial expansion? I asked, a trifle nervous. She leaned back sharply as the storm. You are as bad as them all, she declared. You think it's nothing but Genghis Khan's minions. You are descended from them. I tried to dissuade her of the idea, but she would not relent. The lines are thick here, and the other trains pass ours frequently. Some are filled with settlers and others with soldiers, packed into 5th and 6th class cars so closely that I wonder if they can even breathe. I saw a darker train go past. Metal cars with iron gratings that seemed to cast shadows as it moved, which would make sense as sunlight oftentimes makes shadows. It was a prison train, bound for nowhere, most likely Siberia. The criminals aboard were simply carried backwards and forwards across the mountains, always moving, never stopping. I saw children's faces held up to the light. The prisoners are allowed to take their families with them. Whether that is a mercy or a worse punishment for a good conscience, I cannot tell. Condemning a family to nothing but metal and iron and steel. We rapidly approached Irkutsk. We reached the magnificent Angara Valley that holds the mining camp of Irkutsk. We disembarked as per our tickets, because last time, my tickets failed. Monsieur Fogg looked somewhat more perturbed than usual by the bleak surroundings. As the train pulled away, I wondered if we had made a terrible mistake. But then again, with no money, what can you do? We will have to explore Irkutsk and find an onward journey. Let's explore. Lots of railroads, lots of trains, lots of ways to go south. Just we've got no money to actually go south. Irkutsk was a surprisingly beautiful town, and packed with so many churches that one could not look up at any street corner without seeing a dome or a steeple. We stayed by the riverbank, not crossing the dubious bridge made of tethered boats, but instead enjoyed a magnificent reflection of the town's greatest cathedral dome in the steady, icy water. A passing boatman laughed at our reluctance before crossing the bridge himself and taking a bite from a hunk of black bread. The people here act as though possessed, such as eating black bread. Or there is a steady calm about this place, because everyone's possessed. Let's go with that one. Most likely it is an effect of the severe cold and lack of daylight, because they are not getting their vitamin from the sunlight, and so they are all clinically depressed. Well, I'm going to leave this episode here. We've made it partway across Russia. We are broke, and we will not find our way home for a very long time. 80 days, more like 180 days. I hope to see you all in the next video. Good night, and good luck.